Hi Virgo, I'm Jude. Welcome to your weekly reading. This is a reading for the week of the 8th of May, Virgo. And we're just starting with what's been going on for you, what's been happening. Then we'll look at the week of the 8th of May. We'll see what challenges there might be and what might be coming in to help. So to start with, we've got the Devil card and we've got the Moon. Two big, two big energies. And of course, we have just had this big full moon on the 5th of May. So no surprise to see this, Virgo. And it looks like part of what might have been going on for you is having a bit of a look, I feel, in your own psyche, looking at maybe what your triggers are, what the patterns you've been running are, and asking yourself, are they for your highest good? You know, the Devil card says often we can be in an energy where there's old unconscious patterns running that keep us locked into a way of being, a way of behaving. And the moon, you know, this big full moon that we've just had was a lunar eclipse in Scorpio. So there's a bit of a deep look here at our own personal stuff. And the moon card can talk about that. It's a deep dive into your own personal psyche, Virgo, of what your own unconscious beliefs are, I feel. And are they for your highest good? Is the question there, I feel, with that. So maybe that's been something you've been looking at. Obviously, Virgo, you know, these are general, so they're not going to resonate for everyone. But let's see, what does the week of the 8th of May show for you? We've got the Chariot. Now, the Chariot represents Cancer in the tarot as well, so you might have a Cancerian around you. Or the Chariot talks about how you're moving forward. Seven of Pentacles says, you know, you're giving a lot of thought here to what you've been doing for the past 6 or 7 years and looking at it and going, I've put a lot of time and energy into something and maybe it hasn't returned you what you'd hoped for, Virgo. Six of Swords says you're ready to move on from this, but it's still a bit unclear about which way you're heading with that Ten of Wands, because there's a sense here of just being used to walking this path. There's a lot of, feels internal, but there's a lot of a look here at what you've been doing and has it really been working for you? Because I think it's almost like you've gotten in the pattern of just doing it because that's what you've always done. And yeah, I just am seeing here the World card, which says maybe it's time for that old way of doing things to come to a close. There's a feeling here of wanting to move on, moving forward in a couple of the cards, but it's where and how, and because there's a sense here with this Ten of Wands of like a heaviness. And wow, okay, now that was a huge section of cards that just dropped out. Too many to read, but in itself interesting because it's like, I was about to say it's about letting go of the burden. Just bear with me. Because when we have that Ten of Wands, that's what it can talk about. It's like, what is there that you can release or delegate or let go of here that maybe you've been carrying and you don't need to anymore. And it's bringing that to a completion and a conclusion so that you can move forward. So what's the challenge in that? Although it feels like there's enough challenge already on the table. Yeah, I'm hearing there's enough challenge already on the table. So I'm going to change how I look at that. And instead, I'm just going to ask what comes in to help you, Virgo. We've got the Strength card, the Seven of Wands, the Tower, and the Six of Pentacles. So coming in to help you is the courage to look at this, you know, which Virgo I feel you do anyway. But the Strength card says facing something that takes courage. And because you've got that Moon card sitting up there with the Devil, it's like having a look at these old patterns and really having a good look. And the Seven of Wands suggests that this is challenging for you Virgo, but that you can do this. And when you get this realization, which I feel comes through like an absolute epiphany striking you, you may choose to restructure things in your life. And it's all about how that's distributed. You know, there might be it's almost like you go, you know what, I'm going to sell the family business, or I'm going to sell my home and move overseas, or it's got a big energy here, a feeling of I don't want to keep doing this anymore. You might have been living in the big old family home mansion or something, and it's like carrying the weight of that all by yourself, and you're like, you know what, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to go and buy a gypsy wagon and travel around the world or something. I don't know. I just don't know. But it's got that feeling of changing something, ending something that's become a burden almost, and going, you know what? I don't know that I want to keep doing this. I think I want to change it. I want to let it go. I want to delegate it, drop the burden. And this comes as a bit of a shock, a bit of a, oh my gosh, who would have ever thought you'd have sold the family mansion and gone and lived on a beach in Vanuatu? I don't know. Whatever it is for you, but it's like, and it's like you hand it out, you distribute some sort of funds or finances or something, and it's like you move on. And you're quite determined about this, Virgo. It feels like there's an end to something, and it almost, for some of you, it might be like a 20-year chapter. And it's like, I almost want to do that. I'm moving forward, because once you have this big look, which gets triggered by this full moon and the devil card up here, you have this breakthrough idea, and it's like you put this burden down and begin a whole new chapter. So big cards, and of course it's general, so it's not going to resonate for everyone. If it doesn't, just let it go. It's not for you. And if it does resonate, you know, remember too, you've got free will, so you decide what you do. But it's really quite powerful. It's a game-changing energy here. Life-changing is what I'm feeling. So I'm going to close your reading out with a message from Spirit for you, Virgo. And we'll see. They've brought justice onto the table. And, you know, justice might be that you're dealing with a lawyer in some way. But it's also, I feel it lines up with this strength card about speaking your truth. And bringing, again, there's two cards on the table here that are talking about a set of scales and bringing something into balance. Now, we've also got the Knight of Wands and the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands is repeated, but this time there's much more of an energy here of packing up and moving on, which, and you know, oh, that's interesting. Just as I looked at the imagery in this card, I thought of the Glastonbury tour. How interesting. I could almost see it like that, pathway up there. Now, the Knight of Wands is a card about moving on as well. For some of you, and it's interesting to me that I mentioned selling the family home or something like that, because the Knight of Wands can be about moving, literally moving, shifting. And it feels, because of the Tower, it's like something nobody thought you would do, Virgo. It's like, who would have thought? But it's like you don't want the burden anymore of whatever this is. It's like, I'm tired and I want the freedom now and I want to get moving. But it's a big epiphany that strikes, I feel, according to the cards today. So, yeah, that's what I can see for you, Virgo. I hope you have a fabulous week. Please drop something in the comments if you'd like to chat. Like, share, subscribe. I'd be really grateful. Thank you. Have a fabulous week. Bye from me, and I'll see you next week.